Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. As you can tell, actually, my phone is not adjusting to any sort of sunset, sunrise, or whatever equivalent there may be, because it's just full on dark now. You know, it's cloudy and dark. And I know that I said, oh yeah, the streets of Liverpool, they're such a great place to wander, you know, during the night if you're, you know, alone, obviously. You know, there's not people around because, you know, dodgy folks out there. However, this time, it's not quite that simple. Someone beeped, apparently, all the way over there. I don't know why they did that. Anywho, basically, what was I saying? Yeah, we haven't quite hit that sweet spot yet. There are still a few cars driving about in the distance, doing my best to avoid them. So yeah, it's really the best when it's, you know, when it's all very quiet, like everything's deserted, basically. I'm not suggesting, you know, roaming the dark streets of a city that without taking proper precautions. Although then again, that's exactly what I have to do right now, because I had directing before this, so I didn't set myself time to, you know, do Walking Wednesday beforehand. Because honestly, had I done that, then I could have ended up somewhere like the complete opposite side of the city. Because I have done a few wanders recently. In fact, I think I wandered one time genuinely over to the other side, not of the, I know. Just like I saw like every building I recognized over in the distance. I was like, how did I end up here? Like, where did I go wrong? Or right, depends. Because, you know, found some good stuff in the shopping and everything. I don't know. Not really sure. But yeah. Again, I can't really tell you too much about directing, like I said before. Because, you know, Mark would not like that. So yeah, what's been happening? Presentation wise, not much either. I just kind of submitted my my presentation itself to well, not the presentation itself, but the work there, because it was said, oh yeah, there's not a timetable today. We've got basically the time to go in and present to our tutor, and then to see if there's any ideas. But yeah, I hadn't fully like adjusted everything, so I just sent it in via email basically, and he got back to me. That was during the timetable. Not ideal, but what was ideal was creative writing just before that. I guess I'm going in inverse order. We had one-to-ones, and that one actually kind of like made me realize a few things, particularly that there's some stuff I was struggling with in terms of like the script that I was doing. You know, the one I said that was based on that My Street version, well, not My Street episode, and I said, oh yeah, we'd make a great sitcom. Well, that's still very much a thing, but yeah, it's just that I know, it's gonna take a bit while longer. I'm gonna get out of the street now. Oh, okay, it's red. I mean, it's green. I mean, whatever. Okay, so what was I saying? No, forgot. Oh yeah, creative writing. But yeah, apparently, like, you know, everyone's kind of struggles with midpoint all the time. That's the one where it's like, okay, well, I want to see if I fish out the midpoint and like really, you know, make sure that I'm not just skipping to the end essentially of what I have in mind. Because that's a huge thing. Why is it that there's never like any time? I'm pretty sure the pedestrian lights have not done anything so far at this junction. Right, I'm just gonna go. There's nothing here. Right. Not worth it. It's an interesting road as well that the lights are accommodated to. Like it's a bike track that also like it ends in road here, and then people can go forward. But then there's like a barrier there or something. I'm really confused. Imagine trying to reverse off this thing if you realize you made a mistake. Not ideal. So yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, and also apparently that the tutor said that one of my best contributions to the class is, well, my contributions to the class, it's basically because, you know me, I told him that what I try to do in classes is usually if no one actually puts their hand up, I try to encourage them first, and then then afterwards I'll be like, okay, fine, I'll give it a go. If no one actually does anything, or unless I have something that I really want to say in particular, I just like, you know what, forget everyone else, my time to shine again. I've kind of always been like that, but maybe kind of since I actually started doing like Spanish in year 8. That 1 year that I was doing for the GCSE preparation, which by the way you do that in year 11 usually, but what I was allowed because of my time in Spain and because of the conversation I had with the teacher on my first day. She saw how good my Spanish was and said, oh yeah, maybe you can do the GCSE this year. The head of department at the time was like, okay, do it next year, but then she said, oh no, this year. I was like, okay, fine. But yeah, basically what I was trying to say was that during that 1 year, I kind of got encouraged to adopt that mentality actually, in terms of because obviously like a lot of the time, well, most of the time, I knew all the answers, so I'd just be like, okay, well, come on me and I'll explain this thing, partly going into slight teacher mode there, but that would come years later. Yeah, well, at least in its full form. Anyway, point is, my teacher said to me, okay, well, let's they'd have a call on me, and then everyone else tries to encourage them to see the answer. And that's kind of what I based Julius not being Corvus' Dysart off. I don't really know, because it wasn't like it was done for me or anything. It was just to encourage other people, and then I made it into a joke because of the whole Morwenna favoritism thing. I don't know. Mrs. Dysart is like a combination of like different teachers that I've had, with a crazy voice added by the voice actress of the time. I don't know. But yeah, back to this. So yeah, then afterwards I just waited around, and then afterwards she kind of like even started turning towards me if no one raised their hand. I was like, yeah, you know what? Okay, fine. It's da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So yeah, I got some extra work to do during that class as well. It was fun. It was actually my favorite subject at the time. Not because it was like easy for me, but just because I really enjoyed, either helping out with others or seeing how it was being taught, and sometimes also just I forgot what I was going to say. Sometimes also just like the nostalgia factor. Like one of the songs that she played actually during that class was one of the same songs that my dad had on it was either a CD or might have been a tape. No, it was a CD. It was a CD. So I had like an album to learn Spanish, basically. It was one of those. So they were all learning Spanish the same way that I did, or at least for that brief moment. There's other ways that were a little bit different. Like this was obviously their first year learning Spanish. It wasn't like they had prior knowledge. So like the first lesson was literally called Hola. So yeah, that tells you. But yeah, fun times. It's amazing that a subject even like beat drama out for my favourite. And then French came close afterwards. For some of the same reasons, minus the nostalgia part. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a fun time. But yeah, basically that's what I was saying. I tried myself to do that, but then he said that he really likes the fact that this tutor of the creative writing, going back to that, he said that he likes when I actually had to do that. I did actually miss a pitch last week that I was able to, or chance to pitch the idea, but A, I'd already kind of done that, and B, he said I didn't really need to because I was always so vocal with my ideas. Everyone kind of got the idea anyway, and apparently I was on the right track. So yeah, well, that's why I mentioned, midpoint and going through that. Apparently also, one other thing he highlighted, that's really why I bring this subject up in the first place, not the Spanish speech and story, is really because he actually said to me that he noticed that I was able to really like bounce off ideas easily with other people, like in terms of my stories and their stories. Like one conversation with one other human being can spark a whole idea. Like for example, that sitcom idea that I had, this, based on my street and whatever. One person a couple of weeks ago got me to think about some ideas for potential future episodes of it, because I was supposed to like write the pilot out for the assessment and stuff. And then I thought, well, that's something squishy. Anyway, and then I thought, well, that's a great idea. And then we even talked about like a potential season 2, actually, that could happen with that. So yeah. And again, as far as the tutor's concerned, he said that not during the one-to-one, just like previously, that if I was to change my thing to a 1-episode pilot, that I need to ideally, in reality, if I was to pitch this to professionally, because that's what we're all training for, then I need to have about 6 hours worth of a story versus, 30 minutes. Have a complete storyline and arc around it, even if I don't end up writing all the episodes myself, because, that's how TV works. However, that's still, I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah. However, that's kind of how I train myself to think as of recently, and also because of my time writing novels beforehand, and now my time writing, long-running gacha shows and stuff. I kind of think now in terms of all this future development that I can keep getting out of the same characters. I think this comes partly from the impulse to really dive into what Aphmau inspired me to do, actually. Because Aphmau created iconic characters that you want to see like every 3 days or so, give or take, and could work in so many different incarnations. And while I don't want to necessarily do that, although I'll get to that idea actually now that I mention it, I'll come back to that. Basically, while I don't want, I have that idea. Like I want the characters that I make to be as iconic as the My Street ones, or just capture that same essence and energy. Because that's one of the things. Like even on a small scale, whenever I get fan art submissions of the Mutant Girl, or for Alpha Witch Academy, or for anything, I'm really happy. Like people do that without asking. Because obviously, if it was asked, it was be commissioned, not fan art. It's different. But yeah, that's why I was made sure to mention them at the beginning of the episodes, because I really do appreciate that contribution. And at some point, I shall read the fan fictions that have emerged over the years, because that's another thing that I want to do. Some form of Mutant Girl fan fiction reading, again, a la Aphmau. But yeah, like I just again, she inspired me so much. I want to do the same things as her, but obviously my own way. That's kind of what I'm finding out now. That's probably why like everything I do is like so long-winded, because I'm giving myself time to make these characters the best versions of themselves that they can be. Oh, sorry, I have to pause this. I'm getting a call. Hold on. And we are back. Sorry about that. That was the head director. That was Mark. I mentioned his name already. He wanted to know what venue I wanted. He's been trying to get hold of me. Because of some emails. I'm not sure, because I've been reading my emails, but I don't know if it's necessarily that I just missed the ones that he sent in particular, or I don't know. We're now getting a bunch of other stuff that's just like, oh yeah, national survey, or the LGME like news magazine thing that I didn't sign up for. I don't know. Either way, lesson learned, and we did talk about stuff that was going on in a bit more detail. And apparently he thinks that I'm on track. So yeah, we sorted out any problems that had arisen so far. But yeah, looking forward to the other tutor actually coming in and seeing what one who's managing the actors. He's going to come and see the rehearsal tomorrow, which is good because I booked a 3-hour stint. I don't know. I'm slowly getting more and more confident with that directing portion. Oh look, a restaurant. Huh. It's called restaurant. Oh, TJ Restaurant. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that portion of a great mall, a good deal more, like the rehearse, like that. I'm feeling more confident just because up until recently I was really doubting because it was, you know, new writing. Was I doing this justice? This is what the writer had in mind, because like the first thing I did during the session was like change it into a traverse, even though it was written for end on and being, you know, to be naturalistic and everything. But yeah, apparently the tech schedules are going to come out tomorrow, so I've got enough time to think about that. Potentially, I mean, I really need to make sure. The director's, well, not director, but yeah, Mark said that that the schedule's going to come out today, and that by next week, hopefully, I should like get the writer send stuff in, which implies to me that I'll have enough time over the weekend to think about the technical side of things and put all the stuff together. So yeah, apparently that's all good. And I can tell you all about that because I'm not breaking his rule talking about stuff in the rehearsal space, because it was out of rehearsal space that we talked about this with. So yeah, there we go. Anywho, I need to figure out which way I'm going to go that has the least cars, the path of least vehicles, if you will. Probably down there. So yeah, what I was saying about presentations, and no, the presentations, creative writing, got past that presentation to creative writing now. Yeah, the skill that apparently he was, the tutor was most impressed with was again, the ability to just bounce off ideas from somebody else, like I said before, season 2 stuff, but also in turn I can contribute to their stuff just as much. Because actually that's what I kind of do, you know. People come to me, especially you know, the Discord bunch. They'll come to me and they'll say stuff like, "Oh, I've got this script. What do you think?" Or, you know, in the case of Aiden, you know, "I'm making this pitch. You know, what rewrites am I gonna do and stuff? You know, how do I want to make this make sense?" And granted, most of what I do with all those people is spell check, but in the midst of doing that, I'm also, you know, checking to see if everything makes sense, if they're getting their point across, and also what like potential ideas they can kind of have. And I just kind of train myself to do that. Apparently, that's a skill that I should be putting on CVs, according to this tutor. So I guess I've taught myself a life skill without that, but can, you know, land employments without me realizing that I was doing it. So that's fun. I sound sarcastic, but I'm not. That does sound fun. So yeah, who knows? I could kind of see myself being a bit of a creative consultant to people. That makes sense. I don't know. Either way, I guess that's everything for uni stuff recently, other than, you know, prior rehearsals for directing everything. Again, most of my week consists of, and my timetable week consists of directing. My other stuff in the week, of course, consisted of releasing another piece that I directed, The Mutant Girl, episode 10 of season 2. At last we've reached 20 episodes, and that would normally have been a finale moment, but nope, we've got 2 more to do. So yeah, another thing I've been doing recently is working on that Fallen Angel scene that Ada wants me to do, and then I'm gonna just, you know, plow through the audio for all of them. I'm thinking of changing my production module for like the next part, because some people in Puppy Love, actually, because that's been all updated too, because I've been talking to Emma about that, and she's told me that, oh yeah, Puppy Love's been updating. And as I almost finished, all she needed was like sound effects and music, which I've now sent over, because people once again come to me for those things. I guess that's the skill I knew I was teaching myself, you know, visual editing and everything. Not the one that I really want to focus on necessarily, because for me, editing, I'll do it properly because I'm a perfectionist, but it's quite a tedious thing sometimes. It depends on what I'm doing. It depends on like where I am in the project. But yeah, sometimes it can be like, not feeling it. Especially for regular YouTube videos. Like, I don't know. Will I go overboard with those? Possibly. I can't really say for certain. Okay, I'm gonna go down that way because I know there's a place with no cars. This is my my bearings don't take me wrong. They don't take me to the other side of the city again, like I said before. But yeah, once again, seems to have had great reception. Once again, garnering some new people that have come over and, you know, want to see what's going on the channel. And hopefully they'll stick around and not just like, you know, quit because I'm just doing nothing but live streams now. And I have been talking about the idea of separating my stuff out from the channel afterwards. Particularly, there's been talks. I've had talks with Monet actually about the fact that that I need to like have somewhere that's just separate, that I can do that's just pure gacha. I tried to do that last year, of course, with the whole Korra thing, but that was an experiment to see if I could like grow it far enough. Now I'm giving myself no excuses for that. You know, I'm just going to do it. I don't need an excuse to act upon that idea, as now I have somewhat of a plan. Because Aiden and I have been talking about doing some sort of AFMAO continuation, you know, like I finished up High Season 3, or, you know, something like, or something like, I don't know, what we think a Season 7 could look like, or something along those lines. Because to be fair, a few of the people in Buttercorp have actually already done that, because that's how we met. Back in the days of the AFMAO wiki, we met via role-playing a continuation of the story up until that point, which was basically Season 5 was still going on, so Season 6 kind of came in and ruined a lot of what we actually did, particularly concerning a certain Ian, who got mentioned. I ended up playing him because it was like, okay, well, you know, if he's going to be around, I might as well. I had the idea to bring back Cole Green from Iron and Coal, but yeah, I guess Ian got rubbed in too. I don't know. It was a different time. Anyway, point is, some of us have already done that before, and maybe not that script necessarily, because that's more of BB's thing to adapt. In this instance, I feel like, yeah, I've got a plan for myself. I just realized this goes downhill all the way, so I'm going to not do that and turn around. But yeah, so if I do like a pure gacha channel, then maybe I'll do something like what the person who does Lionsgate does, or not Liongate, sorry, in the sense of, you know, make a separate place and put all of the AFMAO stuff there. Not all the AFMAO stuff, because obviously the main channel, that's where the AFMAO theories and everything have gone all these years and such, so I don't really know for certain. But yeah, we can really use whatever knowledge we've acquired analysing this show forever and doing what I said before, that skill that I said I apparently learned on my own, which was, you know, furthering something forward and like getting some new ideas based on what a person already has. It just so happens it's not a pitch this time. It's a show that's existed for over 6 years. You know, bit of a difference, but we'll work it in. Maybe have plenty of diary references sprinkled in. In fact, Maya actually said that she actually would want to see another, like a finished version of MCD. And that's another thing to consider. But then again, I'm probably gonna have to really catch up on like every unresolved plot in that show, because there's more of those. There's more unresolved plots in MCD than there is in My Street. Absolutely. That's probably why AFMAO found it to be such a mess to try and coordinate and actually find a version that works. So, yeah, I don't know. And all of that would probably be not voice acted, incidentally. I imagine. I'd have to talk to Aiden about that, because again, partly his idea and stuff, but yeah, maybe we'll just do non-voice actor, then we'll dub it over. I did a test yesterday to see if my reacted to Alpha Academy in the same way, because she was like, okay, I need to have some sort of voice because I don't read. I read everything at a different pace. I played the episode without pausing, and apparently it works, you know. Apparently she was really, really keen about some of the things. In fact, I think actually Erica and Satoshi were probably the keenest who's ever been on any straight ship ever, including Moen and Marwick. So that's something, at least. To be fair, Alpha Academy does have a lot of silent moments, but then again, that's kind of my style. I just sort of do less talking than I used to, especially after, again, creative writing. I think it was last year, actually. No, the year before that, we were learning about stuff with no dialogue. We had that whole assessment we had to do with all stage directions. That was where the puppy love first scene came from, that inspiration to do that without speaking, like any narration. So yeah, differences. But yeah, I want to change the business model I have, in a way. In the sense of, like, going forward, I want to really start compiling audio first, and then like give a little bit of a hiatus so I can like really organize the voice actors properly. And then once I've done that, I can sorry, this is going to be noisy from now on. Once I have done that, I should be able to, you know, have everything in the audio all set and then send everything to the editors at once, because the editors are much faster. Maybe that way I'll produce the whatever season show I'm doing more regularly, and maybe that way I'll have like time to like process, like go back into the scripts and like finish up the writing and everything. Who knows? I think actually, yeah, some people in Puppy Love started sending in all their lines at once, like everything. Like I think the voice actress of Leslie actually did that. Some other people most likely. In fact, I think Caroline did that for Syra, and other things. So I do have some of them. It's just that there are a few others that I need to, you know, for lack of a better term, hound down. You know. So yeah, pardon the pun. I don't want to necessarily replace a lot of the people, because even though it's been some time, I met some people through that audition. You know, like Miss Devil, for example, is supposed to be Veronica. Every time I try and get lines from her, it's a no-show. But we also have we're also like regularly in contact, you know, to do with her stuff. So at the very least, you can make the contribution she wasn't going to mine. And we are, after all, going to stick to making that on the two separate channels, because Emma is almost done. In fact, she was going to release it on the same day as the Mutant Girl episode, but then realised the whole music thing, and then had to go. So yeah, not ideal, but close enough. I don't know. But yeah, either way, we're already like in watch party mode for that. In fact, I think that's like the one thing I've done in that Mutant Girl community server, actually. If you haven't joined that, then go ahead, because when we have a new release, you can do a watch party there and watch the premiere. That was the idea. Huh. In fact, did we watch Alpha Academy there as well? I think we did. I don't know. We just did like a massive sharing thing afterwards because we're waiting for Emma, and then never ended up happening. But yeah, people during that, that's where like a lot of the debate stuff happened. Because, I mean, yes, the whole last episode was very distressful, and I guess people were kind of already, you know, after a month they kind of eased into it. And I did solve what was going on, like that, at least that line of conflict, you know, in time for the season finale, you know. But then, of course, there's still more stuff going on. The whole thing with Raina and Julius, and obviously Felix is still at large and everything. And trust me, we're working through that. I assure you. But yeah, I don't know, because but obviously the whole thing, I loved hearing everyone's ideas about the slumber party itself, and like the whole whoever's on the side of, you know, the whole boys versus girls angle, and it was mostly based on their experiences and what they've been told as to why that should be a thing, which to me is kind of indicative. I had one person say, oh yeah, I normally don't agree with Reina in terms of the whole, you know, it's a girl thing, except for in this scenario, and that's because, you know, my parents didn't let any boys sleep around even though one of them was there. One other person said, oh yeah, my male best friend, who's obviously gay, is not allowed to be around for the same reason. It's like, I think it's like everyone seemed to have like an opinion. Some people said, oh yeah, maybe this shouldn't be a thing, but I've been told this and that. All their opinions were formed based on their upbringing, based on what their parents had told them, and based on, you know, the whole Sylvana module of, oh, is that a boy kind of thing. So yeah, you can see why that was even raised as a point, because I don't think they all realized that actually until then. Like, what I was trying to get at was the fact that everyone's told these things are incorrect, but when you look at actual characters themselves, it really doesn't need to be that way. Like, if you look at just Reina and Julius right there, they're a great example of operating on a case-to-case basis and using character traits to inform this kind of thing. Using what the person knows about them. Because, you know, Reina's parents, A, they're desperate to actually, you know, make her happy in any way right now because of the whole disappearance thing. B, she actually, you know, they actually know Judas and have been since he was 6. They know what his personality is like. They know his character. And he was Reina's only friend for a while. So now they've gotten older and that whole difference is really starting to come in. So that's why I did that summer party thing. I did that because it's an extreme example of the argument I've been making since the start of season 2. Since episode 4 actually. So as long as the show's been a Gacha Club product actually, I've had that topic being addressed. And that's the whole point. Obviously there were a few people who came in and didn't actually see the previous episode, so they wouldn't have had that, you know, realization that I'm doing like an extreme version of what happened before. But hopefully they'll now go back and know to binge the series properly. As do most people when they find it new and they go back and, you know, get the good old view spikes on the other videos. But yeah, obviously my stance on the matter is that, you know, if you know that nothing is going to happen, then why not just let, you know, boys and girls sleep over? They're all young. They're not at an age where they're thinking about anything yet. And especially if you know the person properly, like, come on. There's definitely cases where it's like, this should happen. But yeah, it's all about that social stigma. That's why I think the way that I write is I'll try and look at social situations like stigmas and everything and stuff that I think isn't quite right, and then I'll just subtly try and make you think, hang on a second, look at the character reacting to this, to what's going on. Do I react to this way? You know, is this what I've ended up, you know, teaching myself to believe, or what other people have taught me to believe? And then draw your own conclusions. I don't want to steer anyone. I just want people to look at things from a different point of view and get an enriching experience from doing that. And that to me is what I like to do as far as making commentary in Gacha goes. Because a lot of other people, they operate on the notion of, like, you know, doing what you do in school. They're using statistics, using extreme examples and all of those things. But really, when you get down to the subtleties of what you want to actually convey across, you don't need all the time to use these situations. You don't need all the time to be super extreme or to really, like, be on the nose with everything. And even if you have a Gacha audience, audiences aren't stupid. they pick up on way more than they think they do, and sometimes less, but there's in certain areas, like, in terms of clues and everything, as we found out recently. But they actually, if you convey something properly and you know what you want to get across, people can pick up on that if you've done it correctly. And doing it correctly doesn't necessarily mean spelling it out for everyone, because that will come across as condescending, and your message will be lost as you're just seen as one of the next pretentious gacha tubers to come along. I might do a video on that someday, actually, because for now, it's time to go. So please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters, and subscribe if not done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.